My name is Braziel, and I'm sitting here with Waco playwright Seth Sutton. Seth, how are you today?
I'm great, Bradyn. It's good to be with you.
Oh, I'm glad to sit here with you and start talking about this show. So you are the playwright of Second Chair. So tell us, how did things get started for Second Chair? What made you decide to write a play?
Well, so I had this idea in my mind, I guess, for the last 5 years. And when I first started writing it, I actually I wrote it as a pilot. I had this,
TV.
Yeah, for TV.
Okay.
I had this idea that I could write a series. Of course, I knew no one in TV, and so it didn't take me long to decide it might make more sense to stay within the venue that I have experience in. So I began the process of adjusting it to a play. Of course, being the first time I've done a play, I don't think I did as good a job in adjusting it as I thought I had. So when we all started, you and Colin, who of course are doing a great job directing it, came to me and said, "You're killing us," which was fun because it still had so much micro action, so many scene changes, which as we know is easy in TV.
Right.
But then we all worked hard, worked together to come up with the product we have now, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, we were excited to show you. So just real quick, you had mentioned that you are more familiar with theater. Can you tell us a little bit about your theater background?
Sure. I I guess I got my first gig, paying gig, professional theater back in 1993.
Okay.
Way before you existed, I'm sure.
Yep.
And that was out in Palo Duro Canyon. I played Calvin Armstrong, the lead in the musical drama Texas.
Okay.
And so that's how it started. And from there, moved to New York City and tried to pursue musical theater for a while.
Okay.
And then ended up really using the bulk of my theater experience in courtrooms
So tell us about that.
as a trial lawyer over the
Okay.
last almost 2 decades. No, there's a real place in advocacy for a lot of the same tenets that we talk about in theater. Now, of course, some people you can frame that negatively, like, oh, it's just theatrics. But theater, really, the beautiful thing about it is that you can take a core message which you need to communicate to a group, and do it in a way that doesn't blur the message or bastardize the message, but really gets to the heart of the message.
Yeah.
And that's it's important when you're communicating to an audience, but boy, I think it's even more important when you're communicating to a jury.
Yep.
So I've found to be unafraid and unapologetic about utilizing some core theater tenets and skills and trainings to be a really good and productive and successful way
Yeah.
to approach trial preparation.
Right. Well, that makes sense. And we've talked about that. I teach theater, and when I'm teaching my kids, I'm always telling them it doesn't matter if you ever are on stage as an actor. You need to know how to speak. You need to know how to talk to people and relate to them. And I think theater does a great job. So that totally makes sense that it would be important in court.
I agree.
So tell me a little bit about the name Second Chair. We've had people ask, what in the world does Second Chair mean?
Okay. So just functionally, the term second chair, what it refers to is sort of the other lawyer.
Okay.
The famous line about the role of second chair comes, I think, in A Few Good Men, where Kevin Bacon says, "Hey, I've got no responsibilities here whatsoever. I'm just second chair." It's sort of the joke about it. But so second chair is not the lead attorney.
Okay.
He or she may not be the one delivering opening statements or closing arguments, but they can be very, very important. And so it's the person that's helping the main lawyer get it done. And so to really understand how I arrived at that, it's important to look at sort of the bulk or the meat of the play Second Chair. And so in this play, I tackle two concepts that are not only really important to me, but that I've really devoted a big chunk of my life and energy. And that is, one, sort of the search for justice in the confines of a courtroom, and then two, the concept of vertical relationships.
Okay.
And so let's talk about the search for justice. I think first we have to admit that to some extent justice is subjective. Trials happen across the country every day, and at the end of a trial, usually two sides will walk out and one side will say justice was done, and the other side walks out and says justice was not done. And so how does that break down? Well, it's pretty obvious. It breaks down along who won or lost.
Right.
And so I wanted to go sort of a step further with Second Chair and explore maybe those times where justice being done doesn't necessarily line up with winning and losing, go a little bit deeper than that. And then now vertical relationships, what I'm talking about are usually generationally, like father-son, grandmother-granddaughter, but it can even be, teacher, student, coach, player, or even employee that's been working at this ice cream store longer than I've been here. But this concept of like handing down knowledge or culture, being open to hand it down to those who come after you, being open to receive it from those that came before you. And so that's how we end up with Ben Collins, our protagonist, in over his head, defending Danny Scott in a murder trial, and his late father, who has appeared to him and is sort of helping him through the trial as a second chair. All the while sort of working on the friction that they've developed in their vertical relationship, and sort of coming to terms with working through that, and what that means not only for Ben's life going forward, but sort of for the family legacy that he deals with as a lawyer back home in Arrowhead, Texas. So the term second chair, it's kind of fun. It's open for a little bit of interpretation. Perhaps it deals with James, Ben's father, who's helping him with the trial. But obviously he's not really there, but he's dealing in that relationship. But also helping him with the trial in the real world is Jana, his paralegal and love interest. So maybe she's the second chair. But there's a lot of second chairing going on.
So you are a practicing lawyer. Every playwright, normally when they write something, there is a piece of them that is a part of it. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Who do you relate to?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There are probably parts of me in each character. I think I relate to Ben a little bit, just in the sense of having great dark hair, like but in terms of being early on in my career in a trial that you worry, oh my goodness, am I over my head? But then working hard to do what it takes to come through. James, certainly, you can sort of get a sense of the arch of his career and what he's learned, and the battles he's fought and the toll it's taken on him. And certainly I can relate with that as well.
Well, but I mean, you do make a good point. There's actually a line in the play that James says about how he talks to Ben about how you can't separate the two. You can't separate our relationship from business.
Right.
And I think that you show that off very well in this play, where all of the relationships are a little intertwined with work and business, and when Ben tries to keep it just one way, he can't. They're all intertwined. So the last question I have for you, Seth, I see you have a Silent House shirt on, so you must be a fan. This is the first time that this play is going to be on stage ever. This is our first new work ever as well. Silent House this is the first time we've ever tackled a new work. Why did you choose Silent House to do this show with?
Well, that's a pretty easy question, Bradyn. Like I said, I had my first professional gig in theater 30 years ago. And I never thought I would use phrases like 30 years ago. And of course, my main career has been law, but I've been at least minimally involved in theater all throughout that time. And I've never met three individuals that worked as humbly, as tirelessly, and as hard as you, Colin Selman and Alex Blanton. So after the first couple shows, I thought it would be a good fit, and it certainly wasn't, in my mind, it wasn't hey, are these people good enough to do my play? It was quite the opposite of, hey, I need to work hard and get this play up to snuff with the commensurate with the talent and the production level that these guys are putting out. So I'm thrilled to be a part of a silent house production in this way, a fun, new, exciting way, and I couldn't be happier that it's in your hands.
Wow. Well, we are so excited to do it, and you have done it justice, and we hope that when you see the product, you'll feel the same way. Well, that's all I have for you today, Seth. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait for the show.